Okay, so today me and Mark, we are presenting our game concept of the Chronicles of Edgeloop.
Our group, it's me and Ben here, we worked on this idea by working in class and sharing ideas and over email and working together. Yeah, it's basic RPG, well it's not basic RPG, but we just decided to work on RPGs because there's a lot of them about and it gives you a bit more wiggle room when it comes to having your own influences and artistic styles.
Yeah, so to start off, the general mechanics of games are usually narrative. The narrative sort of like is it embedded, which is it's got a base storyline, or if it's I can't remember, emergent, which is sort of like you get to go free roam, sort of like GTA. Then you've got just general mechanics, sort of like movement. Then you've got surprises, which is just you can get just general surprises like surprised encounters with sort of different NPCs. Then you've got challenges, rewards, level design and characters. Sort of like in our game we have different races and 3 different factions to join.
Synopsis. So the game's set in the world, it's torn apart by war. Whenever you start the game, you select a character, and which character you select depends which faction you join. So there's going to be a human faction where they have no magic whatsoever, they just rely on technology and their minds. Or there'll be a mythical faction where it's just made up of wizards and magical creatures. Like from The Witcher, there's creatures, monsters you would say. There'd be their own faction, and then there'd be orcs. They'd be like the evil faction. They're all separated into 3 different regions on the map, and they all live in their own regions. And you can decide which one to join to start and work your way through. And you can change throughout the. You can decide which one you want to stay with throughout. It's very organic. It's not stuck on tracks. You can change which one you want at any time. And yeah, we want this one.
Okay, so the genre of our game we chose was a fantasy RPG, which we based it off because a task before we were asked to do this task, we were asked to just discuss general mechanics of a certain genre. So Mark and I, we both chose RPGs, so we just used our ideas to come up during our conversations to come up with this idea. So and then for our groups, there wasn't really main roles, as it was a team activity sort of, and we just wanted the best for what we could produce, so it was just the team effort.
And the core principles should be Chronicles of Edgeloop game. So we settle on an embedded narrative. You start off and I said before, you join your faction and you work there and you do missions for your lord. You can decide to stay with this lord if you want, if you want to, if he aligns with your morality. But you can decide to be evil or magical at any point in the game. But certain races will be suited for their own factions. So let's say you were a magical creature and you converted to humans, you would find a rough time adjusting. And then there'll be side quests and all where you can go over and take fortresses for your faction and help advance their movement on through the war and stuff like that. It's just keep you busy throughout the game.
Okay, so for our characters and players, as Mark mentioned, we've got 3 different factions: the humans, the orcs, and the mythicals. So during that, at the start of the game, you get to pick the gender of your character, male or female, and the set for the humans, there's just you can either be a human female or male, but then you can progress that through leveling up and all. And then for mythicals, we've sort of got you can become a reptile, you can become a griffin of some sort, and then for the orcs, it's just generally orcs, which are sort of the main villains of our game, as the mythicals are sort of in between. They can be the good factions or bad, but yeah.
Yeah, so challenges, it's kind of just your basic RPG. You know, the more you advance throughout the game, the harder the enemies get, and you work your way towards the faction leader, and you know, that's going to be the boss battle at the end of the game. And once you defeat him, you'll take over the faction, or will take over their land anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, just increasing difficulty.
There will be creatures throughout the world, there'll be like mini boss battles, you know, like say trolls and stuff like that, they'll make it even harder. But yeah, it's pretty much just fighting people around your own skill level most of the time.
Okay, so for the level design, as the map in the background shows, we've based it on one map. So there's only one overall big massive level, and as the map shows, there's different sort of points in it, sort of like a desert, a winterland, mid woodlands and all. So what we've decided on is sort of like each faction will occupy a bit of land, and then at the centre would sort of be the war zone of where each faction can fight. And then, yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
it's
each region has its own environments, you know, like its own unique aesthetic style. So it makes wandering through each region like its own experience, rather than just being boring and everything the same. Rewards, you know, yeah, so it's standard rewards, you know, just more armour, more skills, more weapons. You can unlock new cosmetic skins for your gear, and yeah, gold, in-game currency, that's pretty much it.
for the surprises throughout the game, you'll be surprised with different powerful enemies, so like they will increase, which will also help raise your skill level to its maximum potential. Then halfway or so through the game, you will be encountered by, because you join a faction, then you have two rival factions. So the first faction you fight halfway through the game, the faction leader will try to confuse you into accepting their request to join their faction, or to be loyal and have the honour to stay in your faction. Or you could get surprised and just said, like, I don't want to be part of a faction no more, so you can become like a lone ranger and be part of your own faction, sort of.
Mechanics, just simple enough mechanics, you know, health systems where you pick up your, it's not automatically generating health, it's you have to go out and get a potion or something. Standard movement, fighting will be a bit like Arkham style, you know, or as The Witcher. What else would it be? Skill management, yeah, it's the same as work a bit like Skyrim skill tree, where you put different points into different fighting styles and different ways of playing the game. And fast travel, yeah, it'll be fast. So you basically fast travel to each specific region's capital, but everywhere else you have to discover a few points and jump in like Assassin's Creed and not do fast travel points. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Then finally the assets, well, we've decided we're going to include 3 different faction bases, each having their own unique aesthetics, sort of. So for the heroes, it's sort of medievalish, sort of like castles, villages, all that. Then for the orcs, they would live in sort of like the swamplands. So mainly theirs would just be like huts made of wood and leaves and all. Then for the mythicals, mythicals would sort of be like have 2 sort of forms, so like half of it's winter, half of it's just forest sort of, and there'd be like elves and all who would occupy the forest, and like what do you call them? Snow monsters,
Yetis.
Yetis that will occupy the thing. But then in the centre of the mythical section, you'll have sort of like a home base for the leaders. So also, as I forgot to mention in the characters, you've got 3 different leaders. So humans, we came up with the name Ted for the leader of that faction. Then, so orcs, it's Dustman, and then for the mythicals, we've came up for like sort of like a griffin as the leader, and his name is Shadowquill. That's the end.